What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of The East. This film was directed by Taihuttu. Now, before we begin, if you like this channel, awesome, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome, or any of these videos, hit that like button, as well as comment below on a video to watch, including this one. Okay, so The East is this Dutch war film. It centers on the Dutch occupation of Indonesia right after World War II. It's a story of how the Dutch army basically tried to take over the Indonesia population, similar like Japan and Germany during World War II, and how the Indonesia population rose up. They're very much in the guerrilla sense where they were trying to keep their country from being taken over. And so this story, this movie itself, centers on, I don't believe he was a real individual, but it centers on a character named Johan, who is this kid who has a past where his father was, of course, in the Nazi military. He's an individual trying to shake that past, so he's with the Dutch army, and he basically is sent over to Indonesia. And similar to like Apocalypse Now or maybe Casualties of War, he's an individual that sees not only the true nature of what the Dutch army is doing to this population, but how an individual deals with that situation, how it affects their mentality, how it affects the deterioration of their mind and set, and how a war can be truly horrific if the wrong people are involved. And so he meets an individual who is played by Marwan, who plays the real life Raymond Westerling, who is known as the Turk. Now, the Turk in real life was accused of some really horrific war crimes, and in this movie you see some of these horrific war crimes take place, and it's pretty graphic, I'll be fairly honest. But basically they become a brotherhood of friendship. They are basically put into this kind of secret military espionage group that for the last 40 minutes of this movie, I'm going to just tell you now, it turns into a straight up horror film because of some of the stuff that Raymond Westerling did and how he presented and what he was involved with, and how this character Johan, who we actually see after this conflict in a real life scenario, how it really affected him and how it probably affected a lot of the people that were in this brigade. And so with that said, this was a movie, to be fairly honest, never heard of before. It's not necessarily a bad thing because a lot of films come out of nowhere. They just, somebody will direct it, it'll be kind of lingering around for a while, maybe show up at a few festivals. But it was a film that, because it's from another country, the Netherlands, it's a Dutch film. It's a film that I knew nothing about, similar to something like The 800, which was a Chinese-Japanese war film where the Chinese were going up against all odds. And with that said, I like these types of films because they give you an opportunity to see war from a different aspect of war, from a different country, somebody who is not necessarily Americanized. It's, showing us the brutalities of, anybody. You saw Letters of Iwo Jima, which shows you the brutalities of the Japanese army during World War II, the 800, and of course this film. There's other films in, the catalogs of, foreign films. But I'm still intrigued by it. I really was like, I'll go into this blind. I'm not going to watch the trailer, so I'm just going to kind of go with the flow. And what I didn't expect is this movie to really kind of hit me with full force. The movie for the first hour and I want to say 40 minutes is a pretty standard war film where an individual goes in, he starts to become affected by what's going on. He has people that are very against him because they know his father was in the Nazi army. It's a movie where it just truly kind of shows us the annals of what war is, and especially gives us a little bit of observation about what it was like in the Dutch-Indonesia War. It shows us individuals and, how kind of degraded and how kind of messed up they were, and how, because they're in authorities of power, it just kind of shows the messed up situation. But like I said, when Johan meets Raymond Westerling, or the Turk's character, this movie turns into something completely different. And it turns into an Apocalypse Now, Casualties of War horror film. And it's not necessarily saying like horror film like Halloween or something like that. It's showing the true horrifying natures of what a war is like, what people are willing to do, and how far they're willing to go to oppress somebody in a lot of aspects. So it's very, very brutally violent. It will affect you mentally, and it's not good. It's not good what you're watching. And I'm not saying that from a filmmaking aspect. I'm saying it from a, if this true and Raymond Westerling really did a lot of these things, and these people are just, Indonesian people, then it's bad. It really was. And it's a movie that really affected me on a lot of levels. It was a movie that really affected me in ways that I wasn't expecting, and it has probably one of the most affecting, like I said, last 40 minutes of a movie I've ever watched in my entire life. Is it perfect? No. Like I said, the first hour and a half are a little kind of blah and blasé because you've seen it before. And similar to like the Normandy battle in Saving Private Ryan, or the ending of like Letters from Iwo Jima with the military of the Japanese military as they knew they were losing, there is almost like an animalistic nature to the end of this movie. There's almost a rawness. The director is willing to not tame down what actually happened. So what you're seeing and what you're watching is something that is not gonna be something that a lot of people want to watch, because it is very, very brutal in its nature. So, but with that said, I still recommend this movie. It is subtitled. It is in the Dutch language, but it is very, very effective in what it's trying to do, especially the last 40 minutes, which really make the movie what it is, and gives us characters, especially with the character of Johan, especially with the character of Raymond Westerling, different aspects and different feels and different ideologies on the different sides of war, and how that affects you mentally and personally. So with that said, for a movie I never heard of before, I really enjoyed it, but it did have an emotional impact on me, which will affect a lot of people like it did me. So with that said, that is going to be my take on The East. Thank you so much for watching. In the comments below, let me know if you know anything about this war, if you know anything about Raymond Westerling. Did you watch this movie? What was your emotional impact on it? All that good stuff. Otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like any of these videos, awesome. Hit that like button, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.